Have you ever wondered how one organization can protect ancient ruins, guide AI ethics, promote global education, and still find itself in the middle of geopolitical controversy? That's UNESCO, a name you've probably heard in the news, especially with the recent announcement that the United States is once again pulling out. But behind the acronym lies a complex global mission that matters now more than ever. Founded after World War II in 1945, UNESCO, the United Nations educational, scientific, and cultural organization, was built on the belief that peace begins in the minds of people, and that educating, preserving culture, and advancing science are the pillars of a better future. At its core, UNESCO safeguards humanity's most treasured places and ideas. It has helped preserve over 1,100 World Heritage sites across 167 countries, including iconic American sites like the Grand Canyon, Statue of Liberty, and Independence Hall. But it's not just about bricks and stones. UNESCO drives initiatives in everything from literacy programs and inclusive education in war-torn regions to developing the world's first global ethical framework for artificial intelligence, which the organization ratified in 2021 and updated in a major forum held in Bangkok in 2025. This document lays the groundwork for countries to ensure AI respects human rights, avoids discrimination, and supports sustainable development. It's a big deal in a time when nations are racing to harness AI while struggling to regulate it. The US has supported these efforts in recent years, until now. Let's back up. America has always had a rocky relationship with UNESCO. It helped found the organization in 1945, but in 1984, President Ronald Reagan pulled the US out, accusing UNESCO of mismanagement and anti-Western bias. The US later rejoined in 2003 under George W. Bush, only to leave again in 2017 under Donald Trump, citing what he called a persistent anti-Israel bias and what his administration considered wasteful spending. When President Joe Biden re-entered the agency in 2023, it was seen as a way to counter China's growing influence in international standard setting, especially regarding technology and AI. The US paid nearly $600 million in back dues and was welcomed with open arms, regaining voting rights and influence. But now, in a stunning reversal announced in July 2025, Trump has declared that the US will once again exit UNESCO, this time permanently, effective at the end of 2026. Why? Trump's camp claims UNESCO has become a platform for woke propaganda, objecting to its diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI, initiatives, AI governance roles, and continued recognition of Palestine as a full member state. Critics argue that the organization's activities increasingly reflect left-leaning globalist agendas, and that US taxpayer dollars shouldn't support policies that may conflict with domestic values. But this move doesn't come without consequences. The US contributes roughly 8% of UNESCO's budget, millions that support World Heritage conservation, education, and scientific research. Beyond the money, the departure signals a retreat from international cooperation at a time when collective action on climate change, cultural preservation, and technology ethics is urgently needed. And it potentially weakens America's voice in global debates that directly affect its interests, from protecting indigenous culture to setting standards for how AI is used in classrooms and courts. Consider this. UNESCO played a key role in recognizing and protecting American landmarks like Yellowstone, Mesa Verde, and the Great Smoky Mountains. These designations boost tourism, prestige, and global awareness of US heritage. While a US exit won't automatically strip these sites of their status, it does hinder future nominations and could reduce funding for preservation and climate resilience projects. And UNESCO's work goes beyond geography. It's deeply involved in global education reform, championing access to quality learning in refugee camps, impoverished regions, and underserved communities. Its Global Education Monitoring Report tracks countries' progress toward the UN's education goals, with insights that shape curriculum decisions around the world. It also partners with organizations like the US Holocaust Memorial Museum to roll out Holocaust education programs in over 24 countries, ensuring future generations understand the horrors of genocide and the importance of tolerance. UNESCO's impact is also visible in crisis zones. After the recent bombing campaigns in Gaza, UNESCO teams assessed the damage to cultural heritage, identifying over 110 destroyed or endangered sites and launching emergency response measures to salvage what remains. In Sudan, Yemen, and Ukraine, UNESCO continues to protect libraries, schools, and mosques from war and erasure. These are more than buildings, they're anchors of identity, memory, and dignity. But UNESCO hasn't been without controversy. Critics accuse it of politicizing history, such as when it designated sites in Palestine that Israel considers its own, or when it approved a World Heritage nomination for China's industrial heritage that some believe sanitizes the story of forced labor. A major flashpoint came in Japan, where UNESCO recognized Hashima Island, also known as Battleship Island, for its historical industrial role. But South Korea objected, stating that Korean laborists were forced to work there during Japanese occupation. In 2025, a UNESCO report concluded that the site's museum still fails to properly acknowledge these abuses, reigniting diplomatic tension. Some say these controversies prove UNESCO can be manipulated by powerful member states. Others argue they reflect the difficulty of preserving shared history in a fractured world. What is clear is that UNESCO operates in a complex global arena, trying to unite nations under the banners of education, culture, and science, even as those same nations clash over borders, memory, and influence. From a US perspective, pulling out may offer short-term political points, but it raises long-term concerns. Will China fill the vacuum in setting AI ethics? Will American voices be excluded from global conversations about education and digital futures? Will our cultural sites lose funding, visibility, or support? And what message does it send about America's role in promoting peace and cooperation through non-military means? Some argue the US doesn't need UNESCO to protect its parks and monuments, that national programs are sufficient, and that international designations don't offer practical benefits. Others counter that membership is about leadership, being at the table, shaping the agenda, and using soft power to guide the world toward shared values. By leaving, the US relinquishes that chance. Meanwhile, UNESCO continues its work. Under Director General Audrey Azoulay, it sought to reform its bureaucracy, reduce bias, and diversify its funding base, with increasing support from countries in Africa, Latin America, and Southeast Asia. UNESCO's upcoming summit in Nairobi will focus on climate action and education innovation, with or without the US in attendance. What's at stake isn't just money or recognition. It's whether the world's largest democracy chooses engagement over isolation in shaping the cultural and intellectual frameworks of tomorrow. So as we watch the US step back once again, we have to ask, are we better off shouting from the sidelines, or working from within to protect the things we all claim to value, heritage, knowledge, and peace? If this deep dive gave you a new understanding of UNESCO's global mission and the weight of America's decision, give this video a like to support educational content. Drop a comment with your thoughts on whether the US should stay or go, share this with someone who cares about global affairs, and subscribe for more insightful stories from around the world that help you stay informed, aware, and engaged.